Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to Podcast 6 of 2019, The Aftermath. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can tweet me at The Public Dog, and you can tweet us at The Odds Breakers. This episode is being brought to you by MyBookie.ag. For a 50% one-time bonus, please visit MyBookie and use the promo code TheOddsBreakers. Terms and conditions apply. If you'd like to help us out with our costs, support the podcast, we'd love to help you out. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com, and for $12.99 a month, you can become a member, get access to our premium picks before the line moves, and for $2 more, you can become a patron subscriber and get the podcast a little early. If nothing else, please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a free picks newsletter subscriber. Well, like we've always said, the NFL is a complete and utter dumpster fire. An absolute shit show. And now finally people cannot argue this. You know, I've been saying this for years. Okay? For years. And it's finally smacked everybody in the face, and it even smacked the people in the face that don't understand the game. It finally got through to some of them. Okay? The wrong teams are in the Super Bowl. Well, at least one. Okay? At least one wrong team is in the Super Bowl. How egregious can that be? You know, that is mind-blowing. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because we are all going to watch the Super Bowl. You know, for many years, actually, the wrong team has been in the Super Bowl. Not every year, but many years. But people just, a lot of things are subtle, and people don't, kind of understand it. You know, there's a lot of problems within the officiating and the rules itself of the game, because it's not easy on the officials by any means. But at the same time, they're not even empowered to fix their own mistakes. You know, that's how crazy this is. But you know what? We are all going to watch the Super Bowl because we love football. We're a bunch of suckers that are going to watch the game anyway. It's a monopoly. We're like Cubs fans for the last 108 years, okay? For all through the 90s, 2000s, when I was alive, and I've heard this happen many years before, Wrigley Field would always be sold out and packed, even though the Cubs sucked. We were called, and I'm a Cubs fan, so know this, we were called the lovable losers, right? So that didn't put any pressure on the Cubs, especially when the Chicago Tribune owned them, to become a championship team, because they're always profitable. It wasn't one person, until finally the Ricketts bought it and turned it around. But geez, that's exactly how the NFL is. It's a monopoly. We don't have any other choice but to watch the NFL. So even though they've been absolutely sucking, having the wrong teams win the games, 10-point variances either way, depending upon the rules and the officiating, we still watch it. But I'll tell you right now, it was worth losing that Saints bet, because it is more blatantly obvious even to the casual fan. Even the casual fan this game could absolutely see the wrong team advanced and what kind of a shit show the NFL is. I mean, obviously, the Saints get the ball. Not much time left. It's a first down rather than fourth. They run the ball, kick the field goal, or score the touchdown. Game over. So instead of, you can't say the Saints were going to win by 7 or the Saints were going to win by 3. So you got to say the Saints probably would have won by 5. But, you know, I mean, you got to split the difference there. So it kind of shows the 3.5 was the right side. But the Zebras came in and swung the game 6 to 10 points. That's what makes betting the NFL for the past so many years so much more difficult. A lot of people say, well, you know, it all evens out at the end as a sports bettor. It doesn't feel that way, but at the same time, I disagree. Because if you're betting a favorite, the officials kind of, I'm not saying it's rigged for any team to win, but they always try to keep the game a little bit closer, especially they favor the losing team. You see this in basketball actually too. So you could be right on a side, but a call would put you down. And if you're betting a big dog and the officials help you cover that spread, well, you probably should have been wrong anyway. But at the same time, you're not going to bet a big dog with your knowledge and your handicap because you think it's the wrong side and the officials make it the right side anyway. So therefore, you should have bet them because the officials, even though it disagreed with your cap. The Nickel Roby Coleman play had an official right next to them, okay? And they completely blew it. But that wasn't the only blown call. There was also a completely blown pass interference against the Rams on Ted Ginn earlier in the game. It was just an absolute complete shit show. The variance in the NFL is extremely high, and hopefully, you know, this finally points it out for some real change for us people, suckers for the game that love it so much. Let's move into this Chiefs versus the Patriots game. You know, I think the Patriots probably should have won that game. But either way, you can't tell. That roughing the passer penalty against, well, that helped Tom Brady. The guy touched him in the shoulder trying to bat the pass. Didn't do anything, and they called that a 15-yard personal foul in the fourth quarter on 2nd and long. Okay? That changed the game. You don't know what would have happened after that. That's how egregious this game has become. Not to mention, there was a ton of pick plays on both sides. Both KC and the Patriots were picking each other, and many of those weren't even called. Okay? And that's part of the reason why these teams are so good. You know, they know kind of how to shoulder the linebacker with you look like you're going off for a pass, but just kind of shoulder him a little bit, take him off the route to the tight end running the flat. I mean, that happens a lot, but it's illegal. You know, but the best teams keep breaking the rules, and the officials get tired of calling the same penalty. You saw this with the Seahawks dynasty. The cornerbacks, Sherman, you know, all those guys, they would hold their defender. Then they get called during the first half, but the Penguins just get sick of freaking throwing the flag. Happens all the time. They actually didn't this game against J.C. Jackson. You could see them keep throwing pass interference on him, but eventually they get tired of it, you know. So, it's a serious problem with the game. And now that interception that happened with D. Ford lining up in the neutral zone, complete bonehead. What are you doing there? Okay. What are you doing? In the fourth quarter, you literally line up and then just look to the left. Now, people might feel sorry for him, but my rule of thumb is, and I don't know how rich you guys are in the audience, but in general, don't ever feel sorry for one that's going to make 100 times more money than you have in your lifetime. So, this is a professional man that lined up in the neutral zone in the fourth quarter. You don't do that. You know, Andy Reid got very Andy Reid at the end of this game. Secondly, how do you not guard Edelman and Gronk better than you did? Edelman was destroying you. You knew Tom Brady was going to throw to him or Gronk. You know, just putting man on Hogan and, and then anybody else lined up. and then at least have a linebacker jam Edelman as hard as he can, try to stay on him, run him off his route. And then linebacker goes to the flat to defend, maybe a little zone right there, or blitzes, late blitz, whatever. And then have a cornerback 5 to 7 yards and behind him, ready to break. Edelman is not necessarily going to beat you downfield, and the Patriots don't throw that over the shoulder downfield that much. Okay? And, same thing with Gronk. He was he had one guy on him. And Gronk's the best at 10 yards before the ball gets to him. He extends his freaking 30-foot arm, pushing the defender away to catch the ball. It happens every time. Is that, in theory, a pass interference? Yes. They all do it, though. And it gets called when the refs feel like it. Just another huge thing to fix the game. Personally, the Patriots were the better team. KC's defense is absolute garbage. And you saw this. When the coin flip happened, whoever gets that is going to win this game. It was the Patriots, and they won the game. So overtime's not exactly that good in the NFL either. But, they need to fix this game. And I have some rule changes that I want to discuss, before we get into the Super Bowl here, initial play. Because we do have a play for you already for the Super Bowl. Firstly, I'd like to say there should be unlimited challenges until the coaches get it wrong. Why should you lose your challenge when you're constantly right and the refs keep screwing up? All right? That's just obvious to me. All right? And I don't care about if it slows down the game anymore. I don't care about that. It's slow enough now. It doesn't matter. Get it right. The wrong team's in the Super Bowl. Get it right. All right? Secondly, all forward fumbles by the offense that are recovered by the offense should be brought back to the spot of the fumble. Why would you reward them for fumbling the ball if they get it in the end zone or for a first down or 4 yards ahead? Why would you reward them for fumbling? But at the same time, if you fumble at the 1 yard line and it goes out of bounds at the end zone, why would you punish them that much when you could have got the ball back and completely give the ball away to somebody else? It's an absolute asinine rule, okay? Secondly, pass interference needs to be 2 penalties. A 10-yard minor with the handsy shit that they call, and a spot of the foul play for something major, leading like I stopped him from actually catching the ball on himself, okay? Because I'm so sick of a receiver getting a pass interference call after he pushes off, right before the ball gets there. That is absolutely asinine to me. I also don't like pass interference calls that are underthrown. The receiver and defender are running full speed. The ball's underthrown. The receiver stops. Defender, because of momentum, runs into him, gets a pass interference for the offense. Absolute asinine. Do not throw a penalty on a short pass or an underthrown ball. Come on. This is common sense here. Okay? Also, no wide receiver should really get a pass interference call if they pushed off, right? And there's maybe a fix to that. Maybe allow the defender to hold on to the receiver's arm for a second if they push back. Kind of like, don't push me up. I'm going to pull you back closer to me. I mean, that's just fair, okay? It's just stupid to see it any other way. And secondly, defenders should be allowed to hold on to the receiver for a second if the receiver comes and charges them. Because a lot of times you'll see a tight end or a receiver just charge the linebacker, and they know which way they're going to cut. The linebacker doesn't. And then they come and jam the linebacker themselves and then break off in the route. The only chance of covering that guy at that point is to kind of grab him for a second. You should actually be allowed to do that for up to, let's just say, a second or something like that. Make that a little bit more of a judgment call. But quit calling defensive holding when the receiver is sitting there having his way. There needs to be some serious changes in this game. And as far as my point about the officials just getting sick of throwing flags, maybe after the third pass interference or third pick play, you add an extra 10 yards to the next penalty or something like that. Just brainstorm, whatever. But you gotta, officiate this game properly. Okay.